Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. A warm welcome to Healthwatch Hackney Information Exchange on View. My name is Sara Morosinotto, and I am the Enterprise Manager at Healthwatch Hackney. For those of you who do not know about Healthwatch, we are the health and social care watchdog, and our job is to use the feedback that we receive from patients, from people like you, to suggest improvements around how to access and improve delivery of health and social care services. We provide information about what services are available so that you can educate yourself on your rights and what options you have, and then you can make informed choices. And finally, we act as a bridge between the patients and the health and social care providers. So today we're here to talk about blood donations and the impact that blood donations has on donors and on receivers. And so I am very happy to introduce you to our speakers today. We have Estelle from Mary Chambers-Smith. Sorry if I have mispronounced the surname. Estelle is the Senior Community Engagement Coordinator at NHS Blood and Transplant. And Estelle will tell us what she does, why she does it, and she will explain the impact of blood transfusion and transplants. So she will have a presentation, and then she will take questions straight at the end of her presentation. And then also very warm welcome to Calvin Campbell, who is the Senior Community Engagement Officer at NHS Blood and Transplant. And Calvin has lived experience of sickle cell, and he will share that experience with us today. And he is also very happy to take questions at the end. And I think we'll start with you, Estelle. Do you want to share your screen?
Hello, everyone. A pleasant good afternoon to you. My name is Maria Chambers-Smith, as Sarah has introduced me. I'm just going to share my screen with you to share the wonderful work that we do at NHS Blood and Transplant. Can I just ask whether you see my screen?
No, we can't see the screen.
Okay, just 1 second. I'll get there. Okay. Just bear with me a moment. Oh,
We
this
can
is
see
the
it
wrong
now.
one. Can you see it now?
You shared your screen.
Yeah, can you see it now?
No.
Okay. 1 second. Let's try that again. Technology, eh? I think I've got so many things open. I probably just need to shut a few things down, and then it will happen. Okay. Something is not happening for me. Do I still have permission to share?
You do.
Okay. Can you see anything now?
No. Do you want to email it to me, Estelle, and I'll see if I can share it?
Okay, 1 second.
You have hosting permission, so you should be able to.
Okay. It came up on my screen a minute ago, and it just seems to be disappearing. Okay, let me just quickly email it to you. So my apologies for that. When you're dealing with technology. So in the meantime, I can start and just give you a brief overview of what we do at NHS Blood and Transplants. First of all, we try to register. We will try to get registrations of new donors onto the register to help with the issues of around sickle cell disease, thalassemia, and sorry, I've sent it to you now, Sarah. Just let me know whether you've received it. Okay. Yeah, so what I was saying is we at NHSBT, we are responsible for the registration of donors onto the register to help with sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, other blood disorders such as leukemia, blood cancers, and a whole range of situations where people may need blood, for example, in surgeries, in transfusions as well. So as you know, blood is very important in hospitals. So that's part of the work that we do. We also conduct research into ways that we could improve the services that we provide to the public around blood. Have you gotten it now, Sarah?
I do have it. I am downloading it, and I will be able to share it in a second.
Okay. My job role as a senior community engagement coordinator is to put on events within the communities, get towards people of Black heritage, not exclusive to those, but as we know, there is a dire need for blood types which will be beneficial to that demographic within our community. So I am responsible for Black recruitment within the East London region. And this includes events such as What's Your Blood Type events or generally recruitment events. What's Your Blood Type is the recruitment of people to the register, and included in that, we normally do What's Your Blood Type testing on site. We go to schools, we go to hospitals, we go to colleges, we go to universities, we go to businesses. We're all over in the community trying to bring awareness, raise awareness to the importance of blood donation. So every time you donate, you could help save 3 adults or 6 babies. So 1 unit of blood. So at a normal session, blood donation session, you can donate just under a pint. This goes to help people, 3 adults or 6 babies. Around 1.4 million units of blood are issued to hospitals each year, which is used for transfusions, like I said earlier on, blood disorders, sickle cell, thalassemia, and emergency trauma, childbirth surgeries, and in treatment of cancers. At the moment, we need 475 new blood donors every day to meet the demands at the hospitals. Back in 2022, 2023, 175,000 new donors were needed to register and donate. Each year, we need around 17,000 blood new donors of Black heritage to help the rising numbers of Black patients who need blood for conditions such as sickle cell. Blood can only be stored for up to 35 days, which means there's a constant need for donations and for specific blood types. Next screen, please, Sarah. So our blood stocks back in 2022, we had an Amber Alert. And not too long ago as well, in the summer, we had an Amber Alert, which meant that our blood stocks were critically low and we needed to get people to donate, to come to donate, and also to sign up to the register. Normally, on a normal day, we need about 6 days worth of blood stock for each blood type so that levels remain at a steady and safe pace. And thanks to the amazing reaction from donors and good collaboration with the hospitals and getting more staff to the front line, NHS Blood and Transplants were able to stand down the Amber Alerts. However, we know in winter, it's always a challenging time for blood stocks, and the cold weather can lead to rates of seasonal illnesses and extreme weather like snow or flooding. And this can also affect travel to venues and availability. This can also lead to a rise in the short notice of cancellations by donors and due to staff shortages on the day, which can make it more challenging to collect sufficient blood. NHSBT has to be confident that their stock levels are secure to cope with hospital demand during the challenging winter periods, and donors are being asked to continue to book appointments in the run-up to especially Christmas and into the new year to help build the stocks over the winter. Next screen, please. So there are our different blood type groups. So we've got O positive, which is the most common in the UK with the population. 36% of the UK population has this blood type. And it's, like I said, it's the most common blood type. Moving on from that, we've got O negative, which is a blood type which is considered a universal donors. And this blood type, people with this blood type could donate to any of the blood groups that you could see on the screen. The second most common blood type is A positive with 30% of the UK population. We've got AB positive, which is 2%, AB negative, which is roughly about 1%. It is the rarest of them all. A negative is a universal platelet type, and it is rare as well. B positive, and only 8% of our donors are B positive. And B positive is one of the blood types that is needed to help people with sickle cell disease, especially those who have also got the Arrow subtype within that blood type. So it's used quite often for people with sickle cell anemia. And B negative is just 2% of the population, and it's one of the rarest as well. So these are the main blood type groups. So we've got 25 permanent blood donation venues, and we've got many local venues around towns and cities. Our main donor centers are London West End, London Shepherd's Bush at the Westfield Stratford Donor Center, Tooting, and Edgware. Next screen. Black donors are more likely to have a rare blood type needed to treat patients. So that is why we've got that drive. We're doing that drive to encourage people of Black heritage to get onto the register, donate to save lives. Next screen, please. Recruiting Black donors for blood donation. There is an increased demand, as I said before, for this Arrow subtype. And this Arrow subtype is more common from people with Black heritage, which means we need more Black people to become blood donors. Donors from Black heritage communities provide better matched blood to those who need it, and demand for these subtypes is growing as more people have regular transfusions to treat blood disorders such as sickle cell. Subtypes are very important when someone has regular transfusions, as they need blood that closely matches their own. What is the Arrow subtype? This is a variation of the Rh positive blood type. You might have it if you have O positive, A positive, B positive, or AB positive blood. Everyone has a blood subtype, so having the Arrow subtype does not mean there is a problem with your blood. And it says 55% of Black donors have the blood subtype Arrow, which is needed to treat patients with sickle cell. And Dr. Alexander Weiner was the one who discovered these subtypes back in 1943 and gave them simplified names, which is where the name RO comes from. Did you know sickle cell disorder is inherited from parents? and from both parents at that, while sickle cell trait is inherited from only one parent. Sickle cell disorder can affect anyone. Although it is predominantly found in people of African and Caribbean heritage, with the largest two populations being in Africa and India. Approximately 1 in 79 babies are born in the UK and carry the sickle cell trait. Almost 300 babies are born in the UK each year with sickle cell. A simple blood test will tell whether you have sickle cell disorder or the trait. Children with sickle cell disorder are at increased risk of strokes, with the risk being highest between the ages of 2 and 16. The pain caused by sickle cell disorder is generally referred to as a sickle cell crisis. So what is the ask? We're asking that 5,000 blood donations every day on average to meet the needs of our hospitals. Over 140,000 people to donate blood for the first time this year. 12,000 new Black heritage donors to meet the growing demand for ethnically matched blood for sickle cell patients who need regular transfusions to stay alive. More young people aged 17 to 35 to donate. So we're appealing to a lot of the young people, and hence the reason why we do a lot of work with colleges and universities to just raise awareness and to get them sensitized to becoming blood donors, and to ensure that we've got enough blood for the future. And this is the end of my presentation. Is there anybody who would like to ask any questions?
Catherine, I can see you have your hand up.
Is there a age limit for blood donation, giving blood?
Yes, so you've got to be between the ages of 17 to 65.
Okay, so that rules me out then.
And just add, also, if you've donated at least once, because the law's changed, if you've donated at least once before your 65th birthday, you can continue to donate for the rest of your life. So the age limit is if you haven't donated. So whereas before, the cutoff point was 65 regardless, but now that's changed. So now it's if you haven't donated before your 65th birthday, you can't donate. But if you have at least once, you can continue to donate for the rest of your life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
what? Any reason for that?
Okay. So as you get older, your blood degrades and changes from because you have different types of blood. So you have fetal blood when you're born, then you have adolescent blood and baby blood, and then adult blood. So it changes, and as you get older, how long your blood lives, the oxygen retention in it, all those things changes. So to be useful to people who you're giving blood to, whole blood, you want your blood to be in the best shape as possible. And as you get older, that changes. But as long as you look after yourself, you can continue to donate forever. And if you then choose not to donate whole blood, you can donate platelets, and you can donate more often as well. You can donate as a woman 3 times a year.
And Catherine, to add to that as well, is not only about we're also concerned about the safety of individuals, of donors. So it's not that your blood is bad. It's just that we want to ensure that you are safe. And as people get older as well, they develop different types of conditions. For example, type 1 diabetes, which would restrict you, or which obviously you would not be able to donate because you've got to be injecting with insulin. Whereas if you type 2 diabetes and you're on medication and your medication hasn't changed, it has remained at the same dosage for a period of time, you are able to donate even if you've got diabetes type 2. So there are a lot of other complications, and there are a lot of reasons why people are not able to donate at that age. So it's about keeping you, the donor, safe.
Also, if you're on metformin, you can donate. Whereas if you're on insulin, you can't, because you can pass insulin on through your blood, but metformin you can't. So if you're type 1 or type 2, if you're on metformin or diet control, you can donate. It's only if you're on insulin that you can't donate.
Thank you both.
I think I'm quite healthy, to be honest, but I haven't donated, so I guess that's it.
But thanks for asking the question anyway.
But you can encourage others to donate. So if
Fair
everyone
enough.
couldn't donate, encourage one person to donate, it wouldn't take long for lots of people to be able to donate.
I think the other thing is there a weight thing? Because my daughter is quite small.
Yes.
So she's I think she's about 5'1" and she weighs, I don't know, 8 stone or something.
You can donate.
Is there some weight thing? I
Yeah,
think
7.5
she's
stone. So if you're under 7.5 stone, you can't donate. If you're over that, you can. So it's not her height; it's how much she weighs.
how much she weighs. So 8 stone is the
Yeah, so she can donate.
Yes.
she might be under 8 stone. I'm not sure because she's quite small.
Okay.
If she's under 50 kg,
underweight.
yeah, if she's under 50 kg, then she would not be able to donate. It's 50 kg and up, which is again, like Calvin said, it's 7 to 7.5 stones and up. But at 8, if she's 8 stones, she is safe to donate.
She might not be 8 stone actually. Yeah, because I mean her BMI is fine.
Yeah, it's got nothing. It's not. It doesn't even really come to the BMI. It's just the weight.
Yeah.
If you're underweight, they wouldn't take blood off you. If you're under that weight.
She's not underweight herself.
And it's the same as exercising. When you donate to not exercise on the day, that includes jogging, riding to the donor center, and things like that. And the weight is the same thing, because when you take blood, your blood pressure drops. So under a certain weight, your blood pressure drops more rapidly, and the problem is you pass out. So if you faint whilst donating blood, the donation has to stop, and we cannot use your blood. And it's embarrassing for you. So that's why the certain safeguards are in place. So no alcohol, drugs, no exercise at all, including yoga, because people don't think that's exercise, but it is. So anything that raises your heart limit or could lower your blood pressure rapidly.
Oh, that's useful to know.
Thank you. Questions are coming now. So Ismail, do you want to come off mute and ask your question, and then we come to you, Leah?
Thank you, Stella, for your excellent presentation. My question is there any reasons that people who are originally from a specific area, and specifically from East Africa, are not allowed to donate? Because it has happened a few times in my community. And even though they are good health the health are above and beyond, but they still were refused.
How long ago was that?
The last case that I advocated for the person was about 6 months ago.
Okay. When you say East Africa, which specific country you're talking about?
About Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia.
Okay. Is it a malaria-prone zone?
The whole region, yes.
That's why.
That's why.
But they left a long time ago. They left about decades ago. They've been here in UK for the last 30 years. But what I will do, I will take meetings and maybe contact you outside.
So they have
Yes, yeah. Outside of this, yeah, you can take my I'll forward my details and you can contact me, because I know for some people, I know if you travel there, the thing is, it all depends. If you travel there often, then you may risk taking back malaria. And what we're trying to prevent is, we do not want what happened back in the 80s, 70s to occur again, where people receive blood products which were not suitable. So what we're trying to do is to be very, very careful. But we can have that conversation outside of this forum, if you, I'll pass my details on to you, and we can chat about it a bit more.
Thank you.
And I am happy to facilitate this and put you in contact with each other. Thank you, Estelle. Thank you, Ismail, for your question. Leah, over to you.
Yes. So my question is, what happened after 35 days stoking the blood? So what happened? You're gonna throw it away? What happened?
We would have to throw it away. That's exactly what happens. We throw it away because we cannot store it for that length of time. And I cannot say that it's been done regularly. But what I can say is that after 35 days, we're not able to use it. Again, is for the safety of the recipient. So the person receiving that blood needs to be fresh enough for that person to be transfused, or for
Okay.
it to be used for that person. So yes.
Okay. One more question. If any blood type you can donate, because I'm Black African, so I just want to double check. My blood type is O, so I just want to know that.
Okay, we've got an eligibility criteria. So anybody can donate once you fulfill the criteria. And once at your first appointment, you will be screened. So when we sign you up, when we register you to become a blood donor, or you register yourself online to become a blood donor, at your very first appointment, there is an extensive screening process that takes place. So your hemoglobin levels are checked, your iron levels are checked, you're screened for HIV and all sexually transmitted diseases, you're screened for sickle cell as well. So if we notice that you've got the trait, there's a different way that we deal. It's not that with people with the trait, you can still donate. Once on the date of the day of donation, your hemoglobin levels are at a satisfactory level, your iron levels are at a satisfactory level, you can donate with sickle cell trait or thalassemia trait. So screening is very important. So that's the first step. And then once you're safe to donate, we will allow you to donate. I do not know if Calvin wants to add anything to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, the reason for 35 days is it's how the blood degrades. So once you take the blood out of the body, it starts to degrade because it's outside of your body. And so 35 days is the safe point because your blood is stored, not frozen, but it's chilled at a particular temperature. And that's the cut point, so that where the blood is safe to use and the cells are still round and plump and haven't started breaking down.
Thank you, Calvin. And I can see there's a question in the chat. Ivana is asking, is there a way for you to check your iron levels for free before going to donate blood?
Yep, your GP.
Yep.
Go to your GP. Your GP can test your iron levels for free. It's a simple blood test. Same as knowing your genotype to see whether you have sickle cell or thalassemia in your family. All those tests are free. And if you go to your GP, you just request it. And there's no charge.
And to add to that, on the day of your donation, we normally strongly advise people of the foods that they should include in their diet to just make sure that you've got your iron levels and hemoglobin levels are really good, because nutrition has a lot to play with it as well. Because I thought as Black people, I thought we really ate well. But it's shocking that when you do a lot of these events, a lot of people of Black heritage are suffering from anemia. And it may be for various reasons, but one of the main reasons is our diet. So that is something I've always asked people to be mindful of before they donate, and keep yourself hydrated.
Thank you. One more question before we move to Calvin. What happens to somebody's blood straight after donation and before it is given to another patient?
Right. So your blood is sent to one of the donor centers. So like Tooting, Collindale, and one of the processing centers. So that's where your blood is tested. So they test each unit of blood that comes in for antibodies and for anything else. And then it's matched, because a unit of blood that is given to a patient is not just one donor. It's made up of, on average, 3 to 4 people. Because you donate roughly 350 mils, but your blood is made up from different donors. And you have to look for different things within donors. So every time I receive blood, I go for something called a cross match a few days before, where they test for different antibodies and various things in the blood. And that's what you're matching against the recipient. And it has to be a 99.999% perfect match. So once your blood is screened, tested for various common illnesses and diseases, and anything that can be passed on through the blood, any medication or drugs, then the antibodies and the antigens are tested, and there are loads of those. And different people have different antigens and antibodies, and if you've had a reaction to blood, you will build up particular type of antibodies and antigens. So they have to test and match for those, and then the blood is stored, then processed, and then sent off to the hospitals that use it.
And all of
And one thing to add, once your blood has been matched to somebody and that person has received your blood after you've donated, within a week or 2 weeks, the most rewarding thing is you get a text to say your blood has been used at Great Ormond Street Hospital, or it has been used at Guy's Hospital. So you're notified as to where that blood was used. Obviously, they won't tell you to who it went to, but you know it was used on that day. So that's a very rewarding and just lovely experience when you get to know what has been done with that blood.
It gives you a sense that you really helped, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. We take Leah's question, and then we'll come back to you, Kavin, for your presentation.
Okay. My question is, how often, once you have check everything screening, how often you can donate blood?
So for a female, it's 3 times a year, so every 4 months. And for males, it's 4 times a year. The reason for that is because the iron levels in females are lower than that of males. So men have a higher level of iron than we do. And it's all because of that menstrual cycle we have every month. So, yeah.
Thank you. And over to you, Kavin.
Thank you. I'll share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everybody for coming along. My name is Calvin Campbell. I'm Senior Community Engagement Officer for NHS Blood and Transplant. And I also have sickle cell, diabetes, epilepsy, and severe migraine, amongst other things. And my particular role is, same as yourselves, to encourage people to become blood and organ donors, and particularly people of the Black and brown community, but also to raise awareness of sickle cell and what's needed to help people with sickle cell, and just to educate people of what sickle cell is and is not. And as someone with sickle cell, I have sickle cell SS. So sickle cell, I have the full blown, as they call it, which is SS. So both my parents carried the S gene. Then you have sickle cell SC, where one parent carries the S gene and one does not. Then you have sickle cell trait or carriers. And there's various types of carriers. So it depends whether you're S carrier or C carrier. And both my parents carried the S gene, which is why I have sickle cell SS. And that is the main difference between the two. And my sickle cell kicked in at 6 months old. Sickle cell is there from birth, but it doesn't sort of become active before 6 months old because of the amount of fetal hemoglobin in your body and the type of blood. And at the 6 month point, it starts to reduce. And that's when the issues around sickle cell first starting appearing. And the main, I suppose, symptom of sickle cell that most people are aware of is pain. And I have been in pain every minute of every second of every day since I was 6 months old. I go to sleep in pain. I sleep in pain and I wake up because of pain. I sleep on average roughly 3 hours a day, occasionally 4, but average 3 hours a day. And I'm always in pain and I have to manage that pain with morphine, large amounts of morphine every day, every few hours, in fact. And even that I have to manage because morphine has an effect on the body and will prohibit me from functioning or thinking clearly. So I have to tolerate a lot more discomfort and pain than I would like to. And on a day-to-day basis, like now, sickle cell pain, if you imagine pain being like noise, and you can hear me quite clearly, and if everyone on this call turn on their cameras and start having a conversation, your ability to hear me and to focus on what I'm saying would get harder and harder if the volume went up. And that's how you think of pain. It's always there, and some days it's background noise, and some days it's more present. And on a day-to-day basis, the pain, sickle cell pain, is akin to someone shattering every bone in my body, then taking a bat and striking me about my body. They're making me run a marathon whilst continuing to strike me around my body. Come back, do my job, and do everything else everyone does and takes for granted and does with ease. A sickle cell crisis is when that pain gets above a certain level. And sickle cell can be measured on the pain from a scale of pain from 1 to 10. And if it gets above the seven mark, that's usually when you go into hospital, and that's called a sickle cell crisis. And that pain would be akin to someone shattering and breaking every single bone in my body, then beating me continuously with a bat, then force me to run a marathon and continue to beat me whilst I ran that marathon. They make me come back, sit here and do my job and continue to beat me non-stop. Most pain, in fact, most pain, if not all, has a cutoff point. So if I were to take a 50-pound hammer and drop it on your big toe, that pain would hit a crescendo and then slowly come back down as the pain diminished or the drugs that you're taking to control that pain kicked in. Sickle cell does not do that. Sickle cell is also considered one of the world's most painful illnesses. Sickle cell does not have a cutoff point. It just keeps going and going. So consequently, there is no medication on earth, nothing, that can take away my pain. It can just take the edge off it. And above a certain point, it doesn't even do that. So if you see someone in hospital screaming in agony, and it seems as if they're not being helped, sometimes it's because there's actually nothing you can do without killing a person. And on average, I take roughly 35 to 40 tablets, different tablets a day, 4 or 5 times a day, various things, and to control the pain. And like I said, large amounts of morphine. I have spent more of my life in hospital than I have out. I hold an unusual record of being one of the longest inpatients in the hospital I attend, being an inpatient 2 years and 8 months, and 2 years without ever leaving the building. Sickle cell also causes strokes, organ failure, and something called a sickle cell leg ulcer, where your skin breaks down and your tissue breaks down. I have had that, which lasted 10.5 years. And in my case, I lost all the skin and most of the flesh from just below both knees down to the soles of my feet. And the pain from that is considered by doctors to the same as being set on fire. And that lasted 10.5 years. And at the same time, I also had a severe sickle cell crisis. So what works for one pain did not work for the other. I ended up in intensive care and spent approximately 3 to 4 months in intensive care. I've also been completely paralyzed I actually woke up in intensive care and couldn't feel anything from roughly here down. And I had C2 paralysis, which lasted about 4 years. Custom wheelchair, and my house is wheelchair accessible. Thank God I can now walk again, but it took a long time and a lot of effort. I've also been completely blind, as sickle cell affects every organ in your blood vessels. It also affected my eyes. So as a child at school, I looked out the window and it was an incredibly sunny day. I looked back at the teacher and saw nothing for 4 years. Black blindness, where you see no light, nothing at all. There's different types of blindness where you may see flickers or shades. I saw nothing. Just like that. That lasted 4 years. And then took another couple of years, my vision to slowly come back. And as now, I can see again. But my vision is affected by having sickle cell and also being diabetic. I became diabetic whilst in hospital because of the way sickle cell affects my organs. I was born without a spleen. I have no gallbladder, and my pancreas is damaged because of my paralysis and the way sickle cell affects it. So I ended up diabetic. Was on insulin for years, then metformin, and now diet control. Sickle cell affects every part of my body. It determines what I do and what I cannot do. I have no control, zero control over any part of it. None whatsoever. And the only reason why I am sitting here talking to you today is because I have regular exchanges, blood. And there's different types of exchanges. You can have an automated exchange, which most people would know is just a needle in one arm, a needle in the other arm, and gravity. And I used to have those every single week, between 3 to 5 units a week, which took all day. Now I have automated exchanges, which is a similar thing, but done with a machine. Most of you have seen a dialysis machine, and it's a similar looking machine called a cell separator, slightly bigger and a bit more technology and a bit fancier. And with that, I have 10 to 11 units, or 10 to 12 units, roughly. Every 4 weeks, I have my next exchange next Thursday. And on average, it takes between 128 to 132 people a year to keep me alive. And I'm just one person. One person. And it takes that many people to keep me alive. And when I say alive, I do mean exactly that. I would have died years ago if it were not for blood, and people that donate blood. People that are never going to meet me, who have no idea who I am. I have been told I would die more times than there are people on this call. And it's a common thing with sickle cell that it does take lives. And I've lost a lot of friends over the years. I think last year, 2023, I had 8 friends who passed away. And these are people I grew up with. The year before that, 9. I also sing in a choir that some of you may have heard of called the Be Positive Choir. Britain's Got Talent, Royal Albert Hall, Queen, lots of different things. And the year I joined the choir, I went to 18 funerals in a single year. I do not go to funerals anymore. There is a cemetery in London, in North London, and there's an area the size of if you've seen a penalty box in a football pitch, that semicircle, and how big that is. And there's a cemetery in North London that has an area like that. And I know every single person that's buried there. 2 weeks before Christmas this year, a member of the choir, who was a really good friend of mine, we both started the choir together. So we've been in the choir 6 years. She also has sickle cell. She has a sister that has sickle cell. Her sister works at NHS as well. And 2 weeks before Christmas, she was in hospital and had a sickle cell stroke and got really unwell. and sadly passed away, leaving a 10-month-old son. 10 months. I will miss my friend, but I was not able to go to her funeral because I was too unwell at the time. I was something called neutropenic, which is where your immune system drops so low, you have 0 white count, nothing. So I spent Christmas this year, part of it in hospital, isolated, and then the rest of it in this room actually, and one other in this house, isolated from everyone. No members, not even members of my family would come near me. Children, I have grandchildren, and no one would come near me. And for them to come to the house, even though they were downstairs, they had to wear masks because I had 0 immune system. And I stayed like that for about almost 3 months. Sickle cell is the world's largest genetically inherited disorder, along with thalassemia. It's also the UK's largest genetically inherited disorder. It's still said with 300 plus babies born every single year in the UK. 1 in 79 babies in the UK are born with sickle cell trait. And of the 475 units of blood that the NHS and NHSBT needs every day, 250 blood donors are needed every single day just for people with sickle cell today. Whereas 5 years ago, it was 150. That's how much people have, how many people have sickle cell. And sickle cell is not, quote unquote, a black illness or black and brown illness. It affects every single race, although the 2 largest populations are in Africa and India, but it affects everybody. And if you took a map of the world roughly 150 years ago, and you looked at all the places in the world that had malaria, and Europe was quite a large area, that's where you're going to find the biggest populations of sickle cell on the planet. And as we know more about sickle cell, you realize the fact that anyone can be born with sickle cell, although it does affect particular races more than others. Sickle cell is a hard illness to live with. My life has been hard, extraordinarily hard. As I said, I spent 2 years, 8 months at one point in a hospital in absolute agony and paralyzed, unable to move or feel anything from here down. But the odd thing is, I could still feel pain. I have been in an induced coma for weeks and could still feel pain. And like I said, that pain has no upper limit. It just keeps going and going. And there's a thing called a silent scream. That's when you're in so much pain and you scream, but nothing comes out. You don't make a sound. And the unpredictable nature of what sickle cell is what makes it such a hard thing to live with. People look at you and say, you look well, because they cannot see the amount of pain you're in. I joined this meeting about 20 past, and I came from my office in Tooting. And as soon as I came in, I took 40 milligrams of morphine just so I can sit here and have this conversation. You see, I fidget a lot. I fidget because I am in pain, a lot of pain. It takes effort to sit here. It takes unimaginable focus for me to sit here and not want to get up and move. To do my job, I have to take ridiculous amounts of morphine, but not so much that it impairs my function to my ability to function and operate, but enough that I can operate or function. And like I said, the only thing that makes that possible is, as you see on the screen, me having a red cell exchange, an automated exchange, blood, which 128 to 132 people a year who will never meet me make possible. As part of my job, I go out and I talk to people and I raise awareness and I go to all various events and you see some of them on the screen. None of those things would be possible without blood donation. None. So when we say to people that you need to donate blood, and people ask, where does the blood go? I say to people like me, we make up less than 3% of the donor blood population. Organ population is half that. But yet we have an illness that affects us more than any other race. The only thing that affects more people on this planet is cancer. Sickle cell is growing. 300 plus babies born every single year. And all the figures you see about sickle cell or thalassemia is sickle cell SS or thalassemia major, not even SC or thalassemia minor. So the numbers are even bigger. Approximately 18,000 people in the UK have sickle cell SS. Approximately, I would say. But I know the figures are more than that. And more of us need blood donation, need exchanges or transfusions, not just to stay healthy, but to literally stay alive. Still, I've lost more friends than enough people on this call. And as well as my friend passing away recently. Last year, one of my closest friends died. And before I have an exchange, you know, we meet up and we go for coffee afterwards and we talk about what to do when we have our exchange. And as usual, we've got on this WhatsApp call. There's a few of us. And we're saying, you know, we're going to meet for coffee and do whatever afterwards. And I asked my friend a question. And he didn't immediately reply. This was after the call ended. So I asked him again, which is unusual, but I thought, you know, he's tired, he may have gone to bed. So I turned up the following day to have my exchange. And about 15 minutes into it, a nurse came and pulled the curtain around and said that my friend had died and that I was the last person to speak to him. And she knew I was the last person to speak to him when she looked at his phone, because he had put the phone down, walked across the room and died. The WhatsApp group used to be a huge group, all the sickle cell and thalassemia patients at the hospital. There were only 5 people in that group there. Of all the people I grew up with that have sickle cell and thalassemia, from a child at Great Ormond Street to now, there's only 2 of us left, myself and one other. I said, I've lost more people than will probably see this. Sickle cell kills. Sickle cell destroys lives. It is a hard, incredibly hard illness to live with. The treatment that I have, which is blood, which is what keeps me alive, ironically, is also what's destroying part of my body. I have cirrhosis of the liver. I'm a teetotaler. I've never drank in my life. Yeah, I'm close to liver failure. I also have sickle cell. So meaning that being black with sickle cell is going to be hard, almost impossible to find a match for me, because we do not donate. I'm sorry to say this, we make excuses. I have heard every excuse under the sun as to why people do not donate. And I use the word deliberately because it is an excuse. I say to people, and open myself say to people doing our job, would you take blood or an organ if it was yourself or a loved one or someone you cared about needed blood or an organ? And without question, other than people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, everyone always says yes. And I say to them, so would you donate? And it always surprises me when people say no. And they give a multitude of reasons. needle phobia, which is a real thing. They don't like the look of blood, which is a real thing. Or they're not sure. Or they come up with various reasons. And I say to that, if you're willing to take it, you should be willing to give. It's not like the movies where you can just walk up to a complete stranger and ask them to roll up their sleeves and give blood. It doesn't work like that. You have to be an almost perfect match. Every time I have blood, I have to have a test 2 days before. And the blood that's given to me has to be a 99.9999999999999% perfect match. Otherwise, I'll have a reaction and build up particular antibodies. Everybody has antibodies. Those that donate and those that receive. But if I have too many reactions because the blood is not perfectly matched and they weren't able to get just the right type of blood because not enough people like me were donating, I have a reaction, which I've had lots of. You have too many of those, you build up a particular type of antibody, which means that you can no longer have blood, which for someone like me would be a death sentence. In the last year and a half, yeah, 4 really close friends of mine sadly passed away because they could no longer have blood, just because they couldn't have blood. I watched a friend get sick, lay in a hospital bed, scared, in pain, and the exchange or transfusion that would normally help her was not able to do so. And she sadly passed away because she couldn't have blood, because not enough people from our communities donate. We tell ourselves, or people tell themselves, various things as to why they shouldn't donate. But it is an excuse, because if you are willing to take it, you should be willing to give it. And I say to people, if you're willing to take it, where do you think that blood and organ will come from? Like I said, it has to be a perfect match. And as well as being type specific, it's best if it's ethnically matched, someone from the same race as you. But if you're not donating, and people of our race are not donating, where do you think the blood and or organ will come from? And there's 1,000,001 reasons why you need blood. Not just for sickle cell thalassemia, childbirth, cancer, other types of illness. In the backs of ambulances, every ambulance carries O positive and O negative blood. You turn up to A&E and you need blood and they don't know your blood type. They give you O positive and O negative blood. At the moment, we have an Amber Alert. And for the first time, we are short of the O positive and O negative blood, the most common blood group on Earth. On Earth, not just in the UK. Because people are not donating. Like I said, of the 1.4 million units of blood we give the NHS every year, 475 donors that we need every day, 250 of those just for sickle cell. Do the maths. We need a lot of people to donate, and regularly, not just once. We need you to come back repeatedly. The blood has a shelf life, 35 days, otherwise it's no good, and we have to throw it away. So people have to think about, what if someone you loved and or cared about needed blood and or an organ? You would do anything in your power to make sure that they got that if it was going to save their life and keep them healthy. But yet, when someone says to you, can you donate blood or an organ from a living donor, or just donate blood? Your first response is no. People have to ask themselves why that is, why they are willing to take it, willing to watch their families be healed from it, but are not willing to give it. And as I said, you're not willing to give, where do you think it will come from? Children or people with sickle cell are also prone to strokes, and many strokes, which destroys the brain, and that's what killed my friend before Christmas. And the most dangerous age between 2 to 7 years old, or 2 to 9 years old, is a child. And I know lots of people who had strokes, and they need even more blood. They rely on regular exchanges and transfusions to make sure that they don't have any more strokes. People with thalassemia major, who need blood regularly, not as much as someone, they don't have the large volumes of blood each time as someone with sickle cell, but they need smaller amounts, 2 to 3 units, more frequently, because thalassemia, the difference between the two is we make enough red blood cells but misshapen, but thalassemia does not make enough to sustain life. This is why they need so much blood. And if roughly 132 people a year, 132, I need to just keep me alive. How much do you think it needs to keep all of us alive? Regularly, with an illness that's growing every single year. Year on year, there are more people with sickle cell and thalassemia. So much so, I would bet everything I own, everything, that everyone that hears this knows someone with sickle cell, has met someone with sickle cell today, or has someone with sickle cell in their family. And lots of people say, no, I don't know anyone, or it's not in my family. And I say, yes, it is. That's how common it is. I've done tests where I've asked a room full of a couple of hundred people, 200 to 300 people. I say, put your hand up. All those that have sickle cell or has someone in their family or know someone. And people are always shocked the number of people that put their hands up, because it's that common. So thinking that it doesn't affect you is wrong. Thinking that it doesn't affect your community is also wrong. Not necessarily because you have someone with sickle cell in your family, but people in your community do. People who are dependent on the kindness of complete strangers just to stay alive and to keep them out of hospital. Like I said, I sing in a choir, a well-known choir. And a couple of weeks ago, we did a flash mob. So we sung at Stratford Shopping Centre to get people to donate blood. And the choir rehearses every single week in our region, but we get together every couple of weeks in Manchester and Birmingham. So a couple of weeks ago, I was on a train to Warsaw with 2 other choir members and the choir director. And I was feeling, good spirits. We're laughing, we're joking. And 20 minutes into the journey, it's a 3-hour train ride, I began to feel more pain in my lower back, then my chest, then my arms, then both legs. And in the space of less than 3 minutes, I went from having a conversation like I am now to being in absolute agony, where the pain went from 0 to 8 and wanted to scream because I was in so much pain. I could not stand up. So I had to make the decision. Do I carry on this 2-hour plus journey now to Warsaw, or do I come back to London? I chose to come back to London and with one of the other choir members to assist me. I was in so much pain. I couldn't get up. I couldn't actually get off the train. I had to be helped off the train by my choir director and a gentleman, a complete stranger, who had never met me before in his life and is never going to meet me again. That's how much pain I was in. And I went from Euston Station to the hospital in agony. And the only reason I managed to get out and control that pain was that I had an exchange. About a day or two later, 12 units, which is a lot of blood. That's 12 bags. And every time you donate, people think, oh, we're going to take pints and pints of blood. It's 350 mils. It's the size of an average bottle of water. An average bottle of water. And I say to people, if I had a bottle of water similar to this one, and I said it's a magic bottle of water, and if I gave you this bottle of water and it cost you nothing, it's free, but you could save 3 of your adult friends or 6 children with this bottle of water, and it replenish itself, and you can continue doing so forever. I say to people, would you take it? Everybody says, yeah, of course, absolutely, I'd take it. There's no difference between taking this free bottle of water that does that and giving blood and doing exactly the same thing. That's what giving blood is doing. It'd be the same as me giving you this bottle of water and telling you you can go and save 3 people every single day, and it's going to replenish itself. When you donate blood, your body regenerates itself roughly within a week, depending on your body size and height and things like that. Because different components regenerate themselves at different speeds, but roughly within a week. You won't miss it. The actual process of taking your blood takes 12 minutes. You spend longer in a coffee shop. You spend longer deciding what you're going to wear today than it does to donate blood. Think about that. You got up today. Thought, should I wear this? Should I wear that? Should I have breakfast? Toast, cereal. And in the time it took you to decide all of that, you could have donated and saved 3 adult lives, 3 people like myself, or 6 children. It's that simple. It's painless. It doesn't hurt. People say, oh, it hurts. No, it doesn't. If you stub your toe, that hurts more. If you have piercings or tattoos, they hurt way more. And the sharp little scratch is that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I said if you stub your toe, that hurts more and for longer. But for that little scratch, in 12 minutes of your time, 12 minutes, myself and 2 other people get to carry on living. I get to wake up and see my family, my children and my grandchildren. And the difference between now having blood and prior to me having blood on a regular basis, where I was spending on average 8 to 9 months a year, each and every single year of my life in hospital. I spent so much time in hospital that my daughter, who was 7 at the time, my son who's 8 years older, didn't realize I lived with them. And I wasn't aware of that. And it's the only thing in life I feel guilty about. And I didn't know that they didn't realize. So one day I was leaving to go to a hospital appointment of all things. And my daughter said, are you going home now, Dad? I said, what do you mean? So she explained. So I then had to explain to them both that I actually do live with them and their mother. It's just that I have an illness that means I spend a lot of time in hospital. And I have 2 silver bracelets on my arm. And I would have to give each of them a bracelet each every single time I left the house and promise to come back and get it. The worst feeling in the world is to see fear in your children's eyes, fear of any kind. But to see fear that you're causing is heartbreaking. Because they got so used to me leaving the house and not coming back for months at a time. That's what difference blood donation has made. It's made such a, like I said, I have grandchildren. Something that I thought I would never see till it happened. Never happened. Then I've been told I would die. Yeah, I don't know how many times. That's the difference to make. It's not just to me you're helping, but you're helping my family. You're helping the families of all the other people you donate blood to. You're helping people in your community. You're helping your family and friends. You're helping strangers that you'll never meet. Even though you get a text message telling you what hospital the blood is used at. And if you're black and brown ethnicity, and particularly if you're the RO subtype, which is on all the plus blood groups, your blood will always go to someone like me. Always. So when you get that text message telling you that it's being used at this hospital or that hospital, it goes to someone like me every single time. And I thank you for that. It means more than you will ever know. The ability.
Thank you, Calvin. Thank you for such a strong, powerful,
Thank you.
and very deeply personal testimony. I'm conscious of people's times, and I'm really sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm afraid we won't have time to take questions, but I just wanted to really thank you for this kind of strong testimony. I think you've done a fantastic job in bringing to life the chronic pain that comes with sickle cell, which somebody else in the chat commented. I don't think any of us were afraid of how bad it is. And thank you also for your very honest words. You are absolutely right, I think, in saying that there's no excuse for not donating blood. And again, for me, that is certainly the biggest message and the greatest takeaway from this hour that we have spent together. Thank you also to Estelle for participating and for your talk. If you have any questions from the participants, do feel free to send them to me. And then I will forward them either to Estelle or to Calvin. Let's continue the conversation. Let's make sure that we can get as many people as possible donating blood and saving more lives. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I hope you have a really good evening.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and everybody who have taken their time to listen to us and to just hear the work that we do at NHSBT. And I hope some people have gotten inspired by Calvin's lived experience, his story. He lives it every day. So thank you so very much for giving us the opportunity to share what we do. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.